Hello, Taylor Ellwood here, and welcome to the Magical Experiments podcast. Today we're talking about Pop Culture Magic 20 years later. So, 20 years ago, I wrote and published Pop Culture Magic. This is the original book cover to Pop Culture Magic. It's been it's been a long time since this book has been out. It was published. Let's see, it came out together. It was published 2004. I wrote it in 2003. This is the second edition cover of Pop Culture Magic, and it came out, I think, in 2007. Yeah, a few years later because it needed some editing. And this is the latest cover of Pop Culture Magic, which came out in 2018. I'm not going to redo the cover anymore, but it's a book that has that I'm proud of. It's the first solo book that I wrote. It's what a lot of people know me for. It's not the thing I want to be known for. I like Pop Culture Magic. I think it's something that I've done a lot of work with. I'm not really doing a lot of work with Pop Culture Magic anymore. I do keep my eye on what's happening as far as Pop Culture Magic goes, but I've just moved on to other things. And at the same time, I am grateful for the fact that people do recognize the work. When I started practicing Pop Culture Magic in the 1990s, and I will say this: Pop Culture Magic was around before I started writing about it. There were some chaos magicians who did some things with Pop Culture Magic. That's where it originated from. Although I do not see Pop Culture Magic as chaos magic at this point. I think it has evolved past that, and if people think that it's chaos magic, it's like no, it's really not. Um, Pop Culture Magic has definitely evolved past what past a chaos magic perspective, and how we know that is that we do see people who practice pop culture paganism, have take it as a very real thing. They're not throwing a die down and picking a god for the day, which is what you see in chaos magic, or just doing paradigmal piracy or anything like that. So it's not a it's not chaos magic anymore, and it hasn't been chaos magic for a while. When I got into Pop Culture Magic, I was fascinated by the idea that there were principles and aspects of pop culture that could be applied to magic and vice versa, and that you could get results with them. I remember telling my mentor at the time about it, and he stuffily told me that it wasn't real magic. He was a chaos magician, by the way. He was one of the most unoriginal, uninventive, and uncreative people I've ever met. Um, but hey, that's who he is and who he was, and more power to him. I I came up with these practices, and I developed them over the course of from like the late 1990s to when I published Pop Culture Magic, and then I continued to develop them. I ended up writing two other books: Pop Culture Magic 2.0, Pop Culture Magic Systems. And I've been blessed to have a lot of people share with me over the years how these books have made an impact on them, how reading these books helped them at a time where nobody else was sharing what they were doing, in regards to pop culture magic. That actually, yes, there was pop culture magic. I've also helped put out two anthologies on pop culture magic, and I'm happy to say that pop culture magic is one of the most important things that I've done in my life. I mean, it's not the most important, but it is one of the more important ones because it's what opened the door, at least for me, to discover how innovative and creative I could be. When I wrote Pop Culture Magic, I was breaking new ground. No one else has written a book about pop culture magic. There have been books written about pop culture studies in magic, but there's not really, I've never seen any. Well, no, I should scratch that. There are a couple people who've written a couple books since then. Yeah. Pop Magic by something Kazemi. His name's Kazemi something or another. One or two other people, but no one's really written anything groundbreaking or new in it, as far as I'm concerned, from what I can see. It's been pretty much the same thing. And if anything, That I hope that changes someday. I hope that people do break new ground with it. But I'm also profoundly grateful for the fact that that it was written. Where I see pop culture magic going now, I mean, I see a lot of work around memes and out there, and I think that that's kind of where pop culture magic has gone for the most part. What I would like to see is I would like to see more pop culture magic systems out there. I'd like to see people sharing what they're doing to develop pop culture magic systems. I'd like to see people move beyond memes. I mean, memes are okay, they are what they are, but it's like there's so much more out there to magical work than just memes. And I think it would be great if people did more work along those lines. When I wrote Pop Culture Magic, I got a lot of flack for it. Nowadays, I think for the most part, people have just kind of accepted that it's there. I don't see a lot of arguments or flame wars or things like that. When I got that flack, I didn't let it discourage me. I kind of like was whatever. I mean, I had people telling me I was reinventing the wheel and things like that. Jokes on them because 20 years later, that wheel did get reinvented, and it got reinvented in a really good way, in a necessary way. But it wouldn't have if I'd taken the time to listen to those stuffy people. And it kind of speaks to something that I think is really important in general with any discipline, magic or otherwise. If you have an original idea or you have ideas of your own that you want to share, put them out there. Don't let other people discourage you. Don't let other people tell you what can or can't work. Find out for yourself because at the end of the day, you are your own best spiritual authority. And I really hold true to that. I think it's absolutely essential. So with that, I just wanted to share some thoughts on where pop culture magic has been, where I think it's going, where it could go. And I think it's here to stay. And that's a good thing. So I think long after I'm dead, there will still be people practicing pop culture magic. Long after whether or not they even recognize what I did or didn't do with it, which isn't really all that important in the grand scheme of things. What's important is that the work is out there and that people are able to do something significant and special with pop culture magic. So, if you're practicing it, drop a comment here. Tell us a little bit about your own experiences, and thanks for sharing. Have a great weekend.